Hey, until recently, there wasn't very many offensive players
Yeah.
either that kept people awake at night.
Well,
But
there is one now. Pro Football Focus, Ben Lindsay ranked the running backs on elusiveness. And first of all, you got to decide what elusiveness means, and that means probably staying out of the way. It shows how well a player eludes would-be tacklers that comes in different forms. As some players run off defenders, others prefer to avoid contact altogether. But the end goal seems to be the same: don't get tackled. So he's got a list of guys that he checked out, and they're pretty close. But this comes from Ben Lindsay, Pro Football Focus. He's got most elusive running backs: Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs of the Raiders, Derrick Henry of the Titans, Alvin Kamara of the Saints, and Dalvin Cook of Minnesota. And the elusiveness comes to here. It says Chubb has been the best rusher in the NFL since being drafted in the second round by the Browns in 2018. He joins Derrick Henry as just one of two running backs averaging over 4 yards after contact per attempt on 100 or more carries. You won't find any negatives on Chubb's resume in the broken tackle department either. No matter which way you cut it, bringing this man to the ground is not an easy task. Now, but you see the most broken tackles, they're all pretty close. Nick Chubb and Aaron Jones of Green Bay at 32, Derrick Henry, Philip Lindsay, and Alvin Kamara at 29, so it's pretty well bunched together. But used to be get hit and then fall forward. Now it's get hit and get extra yards.
yeah, this is a real reimagining of the word elusive in my mind. I grew up thinking elusive runners were, Gale Sayers, O.J. Simpson,
Sure.
Guys that could, Barry Sanders, to me was an elusive running back. This is a different way to look at it, certainly, because you wouldn't put Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb in any of those prior category. But certainly yards after first contact is really impressive. And Chubb, I think that's why when I've said I was glad that the Browns didn't take a running back like Saquon Barkley in top 5 that year, or with their first pick that year, it was because I thought you could get a guy like Chubb who wouldn't be much of a downgrade. It turns out I'm not sure he's been a downgrade at all.
No, not at all. I'll throw in Gale Sayers' name by that. To me, that's the ultimate elusive running back, in addition
Absolutely.
to Barry Sanders. But again, is it bad tackling or good elusiveness?
Yeah, I mean, we never. The funny thing is, Les, when we grew up watching these guys, or were young watching these guys like Sayers, and we never really. I never came away from games. Maybe I just didn't evaluate them the same way, but I never came away from games saying nobody in the league can tackle anymore. I was just so impressed with these guys and what they could do to defenders who thought that they had a shot at them. So sometimes I think now that we have all these stats on tackles and who misses the most tackles and all that, I think we kind of sometimes or we don't appreciate the skills of running backs sometimes that make and wide receivers who make these guys miss so often.
Yeah, these guys, they know the stats, they know what these analytic guys are looking for. I wonder if they play towards the stat sheet.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, listen. That year that Joe Schobert supposedly led the league in missed tackles, or was at the top of the league in missed tackles, I didn't come away from games thinking that he had a terrible season. To me, he was in position. It's like the shortstop who doesn't have any range, right? He misses out on a lot of errors because of it.
Because it's a ground ball single to the left.
Yeah, he can't even get to those balls. So I sometimes think that it's what you want to make of it with some of the stats.